Hello, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us for this interview. I'm thrilled to interview Agathe. She is the owner of Café by Dow in North Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. And she's a raw foodist, raw food chef. And you walk into here and you already notice by the ambiance, by the food, you know that it's made with love. And we all go to restaurants, but there's something different about this cafe. And so I had to find out Agathe's story and really have her share the vision that she has created for her family and much, much greater than herself, which is really admirable. So here we are in North Vancouver. Agathe, I'd love to hear about your story. You are a raw foodist, right? A raw vegan foodist. And so first of all, can you tell us what that means to you?
So what it means is being what I do, a raw foodist and plant-based, is that I eat what comes and as close to the garden as possible, and then the freshness and the unaltered. So and then the also in each food that we have, there is so much that is given. So the respect of that, in the sense that you don't need to really think hard and make it complicated. It is actually very simple, and so nature, really provides a lot: color, texture, taste, and then it's to assemble that together. But it's such a wonderful, simple, basic way of feeding your body, your sanctuary, and also at the same time, how it for the planet as well. It's an exchange. So we take and we give back, just through the system of all the composting and all. It's just a wonderful way of doing this way of living. I love it.
I love that you say that it's a way of living rather than just like a form of food to eat. And I want to explore that with you further.
Yeah.
How you have this whole cafe as a sustainable entity in itself. But I want to ask you, what had you come to whole foods, raw food, raw veganism? Why this method and style of eating for you?
So back in 2003, a friend of mine lent me the book, the Victoria Butenko 12 Steps to Raw. I read the book, and then in there she mentioned how the whole family got better simply by eating nuts and seeds and fruits and veg. And then I thought, well, I like the fact that we're talking about food instead of buying supplements, or which to me seems to be distant. Distance yourself of, again, nature. And so I started that. So I read the book on the 23rd of August, and the next morning I started to eat that way. And within 3 months, the arthritis that I have on my hands, and my birth mother had such serious arthritis, vanished. 3 months, gone. and it has never come back. Like, you can see my finger here, that one is crooked a little. And when you see people with bumps like they have with arthritis, if they knock that, it's like a knife going in. It hurts so bad. And I used to walk around with my hand in my pocket.
So you wouldn't knock?
Yeah, I wouldn't knock it on furniture and whatnot. And now, it's gone. The incapacity as well. So I used to sew, and then I would pull the thread, and now it would start to just slip between my fingers because the strength was gone of my hands. And now I lift 50-pound boxes. So so I started that, and right the next morning I started eating that way. In 3 months, I got the results of arthritis vanish. My skin was like a sunburn day in, day out, a rash peeling that went away, overweight went away, and then floaters in my vision. Like, I had so many, when I had to read a book, I was moving my head because they were in my ways. Went away. We have those bumps here behind our arms.
Yes.
Went away. It just resolved everything. So 6 months I did my own, myself. And then after that, I started to introduce that to my children. So 9, 11, and 14. And then I would start making the food, and they would say, "Mom, this is so good." And then I would make it 3 days later, and they go, "Oh, what happened? It's not the same." So then I started to do everything with using the weight of the food, like weighing my food rather than measuring with cups.
Okay.
So precision. So my children brought that for me. So they really, were part of what we offer here at the cafe. And then with that also came when I saw the results for myself, the results for my children, same thing, hyperactivity, rashes, temper tantrum, it all vanished. I thought, and then I was with teenagers, well, 9, 11, and 14. So Christelle was a teenager. They were teenagers to be. And then everything calmed down. Like it was so zen in the house. And I went, oh my gosh. And then I would talk to neighbors and, and they would say, I don't see how I can make my children eat that way. And so the cafe, the idea of the cafe or what we do here is to introduce to people. They love the food. Now next is how to do it, how to bring it into your lifestyle, how to bring it into every day. And so that's what this year helps to accomplish, because when people have an experience and eat it, and how delicious it is. It's also, they say that to me. It doesn't matter if it's cooked or not, whatever, it's delicious.
Yeah.
Delicious, and then the children find it delicious. So again, it's easy, you can introduce that to your family. And that's what the cafe brings forward and put in place, because people can experience it. So that's the vision of the cafe. Experience a good food, and from there to bring it into your life. And then we will be teaching in the fall, so you'll be able to do that.
I will be posting links too when you have that ready too. So beautiful. So there's so much I want to unpack inside of that.
Yeah.
And I want to go into, there's going to, be parents wondering, how did you have your kids, start to eat raw foods? Because obviously that's something a lot of parents deal with, especially I think about myself when I was that age and I was so picky. So we'll go into that, but I want to ask, what had you start to read that book? What was that?
Oh, it's a friend, Katerina Kukova, and she said, she brought the book, and it was an easy read as well. So it's her that brought that into my life, and it's interesting to see how. I'm sure people encounter that often as well, is you have something that is presented to you, and then you or look into it or you don't.
Yeah, there's a turning point there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in my case, I'm always active. I'm always on projects. I've always did in the past as well. But I did take the time to read it a little bit, and in that book, what really inspired me, as I say, is Victoria saying how the whole family went through having various illnesses that were quite serious,
right,
to solving that, and I love food too. I always love making food, and I go, well, it's through food that she's being able to do that. I was brought up, so I was privileged to be brought up on an island with an uncle, gardening and all that, so the connection with the food. So all those elements made it so that it triggered an interest, and then that's how I got started. And the way I see it as well is, to whoever out there is searching for energy, feeling uplifted, children with less cold and illnesses and various things, like it seems that, you had the doctor every month, searching for something in your life that makes it so that, like I get up in the morning, I'm good to go. I'm now 59 years old. I don't get up and have to kind of get my body into motion.
Right.
I'm just good to go.
Right.
So if it's not present in your life, so what is it that you can bring and incorporate that would then, because there's no reason not to be.
Yeah.
So that curiosity would bring you into searching just a bit more and putting aside is it convenient? And I say, is it convenient that you don't have energy?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the learning, the first steps might be like, I have to learn this and that. But once you do, it's so simple. And you know what? The eating that way, you go to the grocery, it's so simple. Produce, vegetable, fruits, grain, seeds, oil, seasoning, out.
Right. It's not even, a lot of time in the people who are very much into maintaining their health and optimizing their health will say, oh, go around the aisle. But now you're just like, no, just make the first stop to the right. And then I'm out. Right? And it's just, so it's like, it saves time in that aspect. And I want to ask you later on too, like, how can people get started and all the objections that we face. So what was the difference between you saying, okay, I'm already like, I have my health in place, there's a few health challenges, but you were inspired by your friend who really healed with her family. And I think that a lot of people don't make the shift until there's like a life or death scenario or something. Did you have to face a certain point where you said enough is enough, or did you say, you know what, I'm ready for the next level?
Yeah, it's so interesting because, as you say, when I started this, yes, I had arthritis and I had cut the red meat and what I knew of and people were saying around me, still eating cooked, eating organic, but it didn't seem that it was that serious.
Right. That's how most of us operates. Like, it's not that bad.
No. And not that I was going to see the doctor. I didn't believe in that. But it wasn't like, it's not that bad. I'm not at the hospital. I don't know.
Right.
So what triggered me is, again, it's very simple. It's amazing. I mean, I don't even know if Victoria knows that, but just the fact that she's saying, in our everyday life now, it's simple, and which adventure can we take on, and which project can we take on? There's nothing that is in the way and stops us. And yes, they had serious illnesses. Like, not that I had myself, but the possibility and hearing and reading in her book that you can take on life just as a child, basically. You just feel, and I remember that too. At the time I started this, I had my dog, my 1-year-old dog, and we go for a walk, a dog in the morning, just jumping around. And when I started to eat that way, I was the same. And I was blown away because what's that, 14 years ago, 59, I was 45. And you go, I wasn't 20-some, 30-some. I was 45, and I had 3 children, and I had, a household full of things to do.
Right.
But, hey, up in the morning, and I just felt like my dog jumping around, and I was full of energy. So it's, and, I'm grateful that I just listen and jump into it. So when people, they think of doing that, but then they start to think, what is my partner's going to think, family's going to think, and all that. I didn't stop at that because they were thinking that I was doing something that didn't make sense.
Yeah, I bet.
But I didn't stop at that, and I kept on going. So sometimes I call it the gut brain. So you listen to your gut brain. Here it says, hey, that sounds like, let's do that. And then comes the mind that goes, oh, but it's going to be difficult and nobody knows. And then you kind of go, thank you for sharing. And then you keep going.
Absolutely. And, I find that the more we actually are able to eat foods that are higher vibration, not, you actually get to listen to your body in a different way. Yeah. Because you're just numbed out. You're on this sugar high. So what were some of the challenges that you faced with you going out for, your kids? Maybe it was social gatherings. What were some of the responses that you got, and how did you move through them?
So what happened with that is wherever I went, I call ahead if it was with family and friends, and they were quite happy with me. Of course, I say, hey, I'll bring a dish.
That's awesome.
Because, to explain what raw cuisine is, to some, it's like, what do you mean? You have a salad, there's goat cheese in it,
right?
But I'm a vegan.
Right.
There is a salad, but there is a dressing in it, and it's pasteurized.
Right.
So, all those elements that when you don't know, you just don't know, and it escapes you, or, you think you've done it. So we say, hey, you know what? I'll bring something. I'll surprise you. Let me surprise you.
Right. And so, you make it taste amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, what are you doing?
Exactly. And dessert. Always bring a dessert when you eat raw food. Anywhere you go, people love those raw desserts. So that's what I did with family. And then with restaurants, I simply call them ahead.
Very good.
And I said, so many of us like to go. Here's what I do, is what I eat. Do you have something? No. Okay. Could I then bring some of the organic? And then you can charge me the price price of your salad or whatnot is fine, but it's just for my own health. This is what I eat. And then it would, I never had a no.
You make it easier for them, right? Because sometimes you can go, I'm like, oh, I'm this, and then they have to change up the whole kitchen, and it's being responsible for saying, hey, like this is my dietary, regimen, and how can we work together, and really planning ahead. And I think that's what health really takes too. When I go somewhere, I'm flying out somewhere, I'll look for like the next Trader Joe's or Whole Foods or whatever it is, look for the park, you know what I mean? So I can set myself up for success in that. So did you ever have anybody say, are you getting enough nutrients? I'm a busy mom. Like, tell me about that.
All the time. Where did you get your protein?
Yeah, that's probably the most common question.
That's the one. Yeah. And I would say, think of a gorilla. Think of a giraffe. Think of a cow. They eat plant-based all the time. I mean, a gorilla might eat a bug here and there, but I mean, look at the animal. Muscular. Horses. And so that was a question. Back then, I didn't, I wasn't as in shape, but now, I mean, look.
Oh, nice.
Look at this.
Wow, got some biceps. Wow, biceps.
So I'm getting stronger as I'm getting older. So it's the opposite. Like they would say, well, you're 45 now, starting to build muscle mass and muscles and capacity to lift 50, 60, 70 pounds. I'm sorry. Like, when we get from the produce, we get our delivery, the boxes are heavy and you have to shove those around. So I'm getting stronger now than I was. Same with my legs, same with it's just, and so the protein are in the vegetables as well. They are there as well. There's a lot in beef. When we do the borscht, I mean, that soup has lots of protein. All the other, like my doctor says, whatever it is that you do, just keep doing that because it's working. So all the B vitamins, the B12, mine are all in balance. Everything is balanced. And I don't take any supplements. I take chlorella, spirulina, things that are whole foods. But when it's an extract or I call it an isolate, like just the vitamin C or just like what's in turmeric, they just take that component or something. Like in mushrooms, for example, it's just isolated. It's like it's no longer that food that you're going for. Nature's intelligent and it has everything together in its perfect formula. And I believe the body knows what to do with it when its entire form. I'll have more calcium in an apple and if I take the vitamin C, then what does the body do with that? I'm really not sure that it knows what to do. And in my case, again, I've always been active. The cafe is what it is. I love doing it. I love being here. So I'm here 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I've got energy, and it's 14 years. So it's not like I've started that yesterday and I'm telling you, it's 14 years. So, it definitely is working. I always say to people, when you eat that way, listen, your body will tell you, unless it tells you to eat too much chocolate. But even, chocolate in the raw food is very good. So it's the food itself is look at the color. It has all those happy hormones, the dopamine, the serotonin. It has it. So people look at their plate when we serve here at the cafe, and they go, "Oh my gosh, look at that food! It's so colorful," and that brings happiness. The energy that emanates from it. Us working with that food all the time, also what it gives to us is just remarkable.
I mean, you're a living testament of it. You have pictures on her website. I'll link to that. And there's like pictures when you're 45 and like in between and now. And I'm like, you just get better and better looking as time goes and stronger. And, and you hit something that I want to unfold is you said the energy that you're working with. It's like I have cooked something in a different energy and like whether I'm anxious about like the food and how it's going to turn out or if I have time versus... Oh, I just have to check that for a second. Versus, if I'm in a good mood, I'm thinking about how I'm going to, nourish people. The energy of the food that you have here is different. You walk in and it's different. Can you tell me what you think about the energy it takes to provide a nourishing meal? Where do you see that as an ingredient?
So, and we do like on our, everything that we have on our menu, love is the first ingredient. It's fantastic. The team is all totally in line with me on that. They love what they do. We have the atmosphere we have in the kitchen is, if something is, because we're very specific with the way we do everything. If it isn't done as it should be, I would just say, please stop.
Yeah.
And then we put the correction, or we start again, or so that's simply as that. So in the cafe itself, and between us, all of us working here, there is a care and a kindness, and it's all part of what goes in the food. It's interesting what you're saying, because so many customers, even the ones who don't know about the plant-based or raw cuisine and all that, they say, you say there is love with your first ingredient, but you know what? I feel it. It's in the food.
Absolutely.
And,
absolutely.
Yeah, and then the energy. So there is also, every time I look, and we do that, like we receive the food and we look and look at this, look at the color of that pepper, or look at, sometimes there'll be some have their own personality. Carrots are done a certain way. So we relate to our vegetables, to our produce that we get, to everything we get in the kitchen as it's a gift. It's a gift of Mother Earth. It's and we're so grateful to work with that, and we work together on that too. I mean, it's so easy to present something beautiful with beautiful food to start with. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, and there's like a genuine appreciation and gratitude for the food, and then you get to really use it in its original state, right? And just create something like a work of art inside of that. Like that's really what I feel when I'm eating the food here, is that it's like a work of art, So, and would you say that that's really what helped you with your children to start to eat this way, right? Is the fact that it was nutritious, made with love. Is there anything else that you would say to a parent who's like, I want my kids or family, husband, whatever it is, to be on board with this? What would you say?
So again, when I started, and then I would try a recipe, and then my children would say, not enough of this, too much of that, I'd like it. So I worked with them, and that's why when I was saying to use the weight, it's so easy to tweak your recipe to be just perfect, and then you can recreate the same, and from there improve. So and as you say, the fact that you present it, I mean, who can resist? You bring this on the table, and all the colors that you can get from that food is amazing. What I did with the children also, children being who they are, is you call them, and back when I was cooking, okay, dinner is ready, and then they would kind of dribble in, every five. With the three of them, I would have them all eventually 15 minutes later. So I had on the table, when I started them on eating the raw food, I had on the table a beautiful plate of, and there was a dip and vegetables, and they could themselves, assemble it differently and put it differently than I would have. So they can put their own creativity into it. And so they were nibbling on that. And then after that, so then I had a little bit of cooked for them and whatnot. And then eventually it all phased out, the cooked phased out. And that's how I introduced the raw into the food, into their life. And then we do burgers, we do falafel, but what I did is I brought the burger pate and the sauces, and then they would assemble their own food at the table. And that also brought a wonderful time with the family, because now they were not just eat like children, 5 minutes gone. They were with us, conversation, and they would make it their own too. Like, a little bit less of this, a little bit more of that, and then they make it their own. Yeah, so that was, I don't remember, I honestly do not remember struggle. Raw food can be so delicious. And, like I said, I will teach here at the cafe. We have our classes online already. So you can go on the website, and classes are there online. But I will teach also at the cafe. And then, so you can start that way. If you serve something to your child, or your partner, and they'll say, it's lacking a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I remember my husband at the time, he said, just make lots of desserts. So we did. And again, what it is when you have the raw cuisine, it's desserts, it has nuts, it has fruits, we sweeten with dates. So it's not like it's, white sugar, icing.
No,
yeah.
I've had the cakes here and the little desserts, and they're phenomenal. They're perfect.
Yeah, and it's healthy. I mean,
it's healthy.
Like my children would say, "Can I have cake for breakfast?" Of course, you can have cake.
Absolutely, it's like actual nutrition in there, and then you're just fired up for the day.
Yeah,
and and even with now, you're just like you're buzzed up, you're fired up. I love it, and I think about what if people just took that one next step into their health, and we interact with everybody that was on that level of energy and that like buzz, that vibration. You know what I mean? So what are some of the, you work with local entrepreneurs, different farmers, and you have very impressive sustainability goals that you have here. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
So I'm very privileged with, in 2002, I started to work with Discovery Organics because I created a buying club or buying group for food at my house. And so I started to work with them. And that's also one part. Like when people say, organic is expensive. Well, you can create your buying group. You can go to the wholesaler on Saturdays and buy there at their wholesale place. So you get, a difference like 25% less you pay than in price. So I did that because I wanted to have the organic. So Discovery Organic, I work with them. I have other suppliers as well. And we have this relationship of, I believe that what happens is because their commitment to their supplier is to have them make a living of it. They respect greatly their knowledge.
Right.
I mean, farming and growing beautiful vegetables is something.
It's something. I've worked on actually 4 different organic farms.
Yeah,
so it takes something.
Yeah.
It really
and
does.
organic, right?
Oh,
it's not
really
like you're pumping some gross chemical.
Yeah, totally. You're nourishing that soil. I remember we would ferment alfalfa pellets, and all the investment they would put into adding nutrients into the soil and how we would work with it. It really is a process. Just the soil in itself is a process, let alone growing the food and that whole. So I get it.
So all our suppliers, they have that respect, admiration, for the farmers. So then it's passed on to us as also when we communicate with them and exchange with them, we're all on that same wavelength. So, we have boxes that they repack. Okay, so we keep those boxes, we keep them back. They bring it here, so they look at how they can package or put it so we use less resources of the planet. Here, we also have edible garden on the North Shore in Cascadia that take our compost and put it into the soil here in North Vancouver.
Wow.
So people, and then our customers, they come with their bags, and we have jars that we have deposit. So we don't just, use packaging and whatever happens. Everything in mind is to make it so that it's having the planet in mind, so when you start from there, the relationship, again, back to love. The relationship is concentrated and focused on supporting each other. So, I'm going to ask from my supplier things that I know supports them. They're going to deliver things they know supports me.
Yeah.
They will do things with their farmers that know supports them. So it's a different, it's amazing. And the planet. Because without our Mother Earth, there's none of what we need to make what we do. No.
None of this even exists.
Yeah.
So I have a few other last questions for you. So what would you say to somebody then who is so curious about this and they maybe spark some interest? What resource or book or person do you recommend that they can go to and start to learn and take the next step?
Okay. when there are many recipes online, so that is the key, is whatever recipes you do, weigh your ingredients, and then you can tweak it and recreate it. Once you found that balance, you go, oh, my children love this, or I love this, then you can recreate it.
Right.
So that's very important. When it comes to family and people around that have concerns, and they might talk you down or talk you out of doing it, just remember that what you don't know can be intimidating. And so sometimes instead of the support isn't there because the fear isn't there. And so that's why there's that interaction. Remember that when you start and you go to family gathering, and now you're not eating the same as they are, they might be offended, because for many, it's my kitchen, I'm inviting you into my house, I'm a great cook, why aren't you eating? So there is all that part, which I think that now is not as, like when I started 14 years ago, people understand now that if you do have a reaction to wheat, you cannot have it. You do have a reaction to dairy, you cannot have it. So people understand that more and more. And if not, there might be a length of time where instead of having gathering with the family, it reduced, like it's not as many. In the end is you have to also, yes, be considerate and kind for your family, but also in the end, what is with you? If I would have continued in doing what I was doing, and the family would have been maybe saying, oh, I got understands I'm a chef and she eats my food. Today, I would be crippled. My birth mother had crippled hands with the arthritis. They were all, like she had to do this a lot in the morning to eventually be able to grab her coffee cup. Because I've got one finger, but she had all her fingers. So I would have been crippled. My face, I was wearing makeup that was for stage makeup. Because it was so red and so I couldn't go out like this because people were just like, woo, looking at me like, making, it was quite something, and it was painful. It was bleeding here, cracking and bleeding. So if I would have not followed what my gut brain said, look, this works, keep going with it, I would be miserable today. So I know people who love you, are close to you, they don't want that for you.
No.
And maybe tell them, look, just give me a year, okay? Put up with me right now.
Absolutely.
Maybe I'm not eating your food, you might be, but just put up with me for a year. Let me do this. And then after a year, or after, like, I met a friend of mine and we're 5 years apart and we didn't see each other for 3 years. And she goes, Agathe, that is not fair. Look at me. I've got wrinkles and you don't. And so that's what happens, right? And then eventually, people see that you have the energy, that you feel better, that your eyes, clear. You glow, and then it's like, okay, I'd like some of that.
Exactly.
So, there'll be little bumps because people are afraid of changes.
Yes.
And society says a lot, well, especially in my age group, oh, you have to eat meat. Look, you're a man, you got to eat meat. Come on now, you must eat your meat. So, there's all those, and it's pushed a lot. That the milk industry, of course, is large in Canada or US, the meat industry. So it's pushed a lot on you that you should. And when they say the guide for food, when you read that, it's like 5 slices of bread a day. So, so you're going against quite a few things. But just ask people, basically. So you're not asking permission, but you're just telling them, please, let me do this. Let me do this. And then eventually they'll see more and more and can see.
So brilliant. It is so brilliant because it's really being an example of it, A, and B, it's actually asking for people in your life to support you in that, instead of just saying, okay, I'm doing this, like, You know, it's actually asking for the support that you need. And yes, some people are going to say no. Some people are going to say yes. And it's really taking, again, that personal responsibility and really living what's truly authentic to ourselves, because that in itself will lead us always to that path. I don't believe that will fail us when we listen to that gut connection and say, like, this is what's right for me. And you look back and you're like, if nothing else changes, where is my life going to be in the next 10 years?
Exactly.
That is so brilliant.
Yeah.
So I wanted to just, you know, ask one last question of what other parting piece of guidance do you have, you know, and what would you say to somebody who is on the journey? I mean, I really see that you covered it, but is there anything else that you want to say?
So when you start this, please do it for at least a month. Oh, I tried raw food. It didn't work. Well, if you tried it for 2 days, anything in your life for 2 days, it's just not going to work.
Totally.
You know, anything that, and that's major life change, what you're doing there. It's, you know, all your food. Food is the base. You do that every day, a month. And someone might say, well, you know, I might eat the same thing. It's kind of boring. And I say, well, what do you do now? There is a study that says family have maybe 12 recipes. It's what it is.
And then just
They might change the day of the week that they serve it, but no, there isn't that many. There's not that many people out there that say, oh yes, Saturday I put 4 hours and I create something new every Saturday.
Right.
I don't think so.
Right.
So already it's not what you do. So don't say it's boring because you won't have the variety, because you might not have it now. So a month. Do things that are simple, and you know, but stick to it and see the result of it. The one thing that is mind blowing is eating that way is you'll see your body clearing, like and really, you know, flushing so much.
Yeah.
And you go, where on earth was all of this? And that all that you're flushing is then your health is sitting back in. Because when that sits in you, that's where the illness is stopped. Flush it, and then, you know, there you go. And like I said, it shows into everything, your skin, everything. Yeah. So give it a month. Do that.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Again, what you said, because people will try it and they say, oh, it didn't work for me. It was a week or something. Or they'll get into that. I've done this where I've done, you know, when I had first started doing more raw foods, it was almost like I had the flu. My whole body was just like doing this reset, and I was like, what's going on? So then people might even say like, oh, it didn't work for me, I got sick. No, your body is actually cleansing and coming back to rejuvenation. So that's brilliant.
There is, if you know, the ones who know more about homeopathy or seeing a naturopath, when you're not doing so well, and when you cleanse and you flush and you detoxify, it might be a little worse before it gets better. So definitely there is that. When I started myself, I'm from Quebec. Winters, right? Minus 35 in the February, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Well, I could not stand having anything up my neck. It would be too hot. I was young. I was going through menopause. I couldn't stand it. My body just couldn't tempt. I was become so hot and so uncomfortable. When I started the raw, the first month, my hands and my feet were like blue. I was so cold. And I did it in August. It wasn't like I was in the dead of winter.
Right.
And winter here is nothing.
Yeah.
But I was so cold. And I wore those gloves inside, you know, with the cut fingers.
Right.
Because I was cold. Now I can wear whatever I want. You know, if it's cold and I wish to wear a turtleneck, I totally can do that. But I can also be outside and not be cold if it's 10 degrees and 8 degrees and 5 degrees.
Right.
So my body can adjust to the temperature. And I'm 59. So the menopause and the, you know, the hot flash.
Yeah.
The hot flash. I had none of that.
Right. And yeah.
I don't remember having anything, not even like, being my temperament being changed or anything.
Wow.
I just,
Wow.
my moon time stopped.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because I'm done with that.
Yeah.
I was happy with that.
Yeah.
But that's it. Really, all the illnesses out there and all the being tired and having bags under your eyes still here and having, skin difficulty, but it doesn't have to be. We're not born that way.
It doesn't have to be.
No, we're not born that way.
Yeah.
And also for, which reminds me of, for children, like parents who have children, have you noticed that if you give them something they don't like, they spit it out? What do? We keep giving it to them until eventually, but that means they don't want that. Have you ever had a taste of those jars of baby food?
No.
Oh my goodness.
Are they horrible?
When I had my children, I thought at first, back in those days, I'll do what mom does, and I had a taste of that, and oh, was it ever bad?
Wow.
So they spit it out.
Of course they're, wow. And then it's funny because I think that psychologically will, or behaviorally, have kids used to like eating something when they don't really, it doesn't feel good, it doesn't feel right, and it's still having that where it's like, you could blend up your own apple pear purees like with, with
exactly,
this,
exactly. So, so again, our bodies are amazing creation. It's so well thought of.
And then
when you put it with what nature gives in the garden, you're set.
Yeah.
Like I said, look at me.
Yeah.
I'll be 60 in March. I've got energy. I've got muscles. Clarity of mind.
Yeah.
I'm calm. I've got a business that there's time where things just seem to be not working too many in a row. It doesn't, I don't go, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So
able to deal with life.
Yeah. So it brings, when the body is nourished, it nourishes not only the body, but the spiritual, the mental. So you're taken care of. And then life brings to you, it's different challenges or experiences, and you can embrace them all. It's remarkable. It's so simple.
Right, because you're so vital and you've got yourself taken care of and you can take on what life offers.
Yeah. And it's like, we're taking life within, right? It's a seed that starts to sprout, that turns into a plant. So it grows for you, and then, and it has the energy, and it has a combination of, the sun, the soil, the water. That's why it's so important to keep what we have and
pure, clean.
It's and again, when we come from there, we come from the earth. So it's all that marriage.
It really is. Yeah. It really is. And we get, how you said, we are provided with everything that we need. Yeah. And it really is taking that responsibility and community and bringing that vision into life. And that's why I'm so grateful to have had this conversation with you. I will be posting the links in the comments below, the description below, and really looking forward to upcoming classes as well. And really you solve a major challenge of vitality, of energy right in here in the cafe. So I can't wait to see more, but what you come up with this, and I'm really grateful to be a part of it. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's fantastic.